The goal, they stated, was to have it fully working before the end of Trump's term, which, given the announcement was May 2025, means, what, about 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
That seems incredibly fast for something this complex.
Absolutely. And the capabilities they're aiming for are just as ambitious. They claim it'll be able to stop missiles launched from anywhere on Earth. And, get this, even missiles coming from space. And, characteristically, Trump said it'll be the best system ever built. That's quite a statement.
It is, which naturally leads us to the technology, what's actually powering this thing. When you hear missile defense, you probably think of existing systems. The announcement directly compared it to Israel's Iron Dome. And Iron Dome, as you know, has gotten a lot of attention for stopping those short-range rockets aimed at Israeli towns. It uses ground radar, detects them, and fires interceptors.
Right, and it's seen as pretty successful for that specific job in that specific place. The announcement also mentioned current U.S. systems like the Patriot. Those are surface-to-air, usually based at military sites. Oklahoma and Alaska were mentioned as examples. So how is this Golden Dome supposed to be different, technologically speaking, from those?
Well, the main difference seems to be this heavy focus on using space. The Golden Dome would probably use infrared sensors based in space to spot and track missile launches right away. Think of like heat detecting cameras way up there, spotting the heat from a launch very, very early. That's a big shift from just relying on ground-based radar.
Okay, so space-based sensors. What's the big advantage there? Why go through all the trouble and expense of putting this stuff in space?
The main advantage is getting much earlier detection, significantly earlier. Sensors in space could potentially see a missile during its boost phase. That's right after launch when the engines are burning hot. Ground radar usually has to wait until the missile is much higher up, so this early warning gives you a lot more time to react to try and intercept it. And, what's interesting is that earlier detection might allow for different ways to intercept that you just couldn't do if you spotted it later.
Right, so it's about getting that critical head start, seeing it and tracking it much earlier. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, now let's talk about the why. Why now? What are the motivations, the sort of strategic context for the Golden Dome? We know they specifically mentioned being inspired by Israel's Iron Dome.
That seems to be a key starting point, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The success of Iron Dome in protecting Israeli civilians clearly made an impression. But, and the announcement said this too, the scale is just vastly different. Israel is, what about the size of New Jersey? Facing mostly shorter range rockets, the U.S. mainland is obviously enormous, and the potential threats could be much more advanced missiles coming from much farther away.
Right.
So thinking bigger picture, that difference in scale alone pretty much demands a different kind of defense system. That's probably why they're looking at space. You can't just, build 1,000 Iron Domes across the U.S. It wouldn't work the same way.